Hello everyone and welcome to the Beyond the Big Six YouTube channel. I am Connor Bromley. I'm joined by my good friend Jimmy Lees, and today we are talking about the latest transfer news, confirmed transfers, gossip, all that good stuff. But Jimmy, how are you feeling? Your team won last night, 3-1 in the Carabao Cup. Are you feeling good about that?
They did, mate. They did, yeah. I am feeling a bit better about that. Just watch the extended highlights there. Going to rewatch the full match later on. It looked like a good performance from Middlesbrough. But I mean, from your end, mate, this is a new feeling for you. Your team not playing the second round of Carabao Cup.
I don't think it's ever happened. I think we've always...
No. Did you feel empty and lost last night, or did you feel like, oh my god, I support a big club now?
I was basking in the glory of being a Super 8 team. There's 8 of us. We're also in, for the draw, we're in a different pot. The 8 teams that are in Europe are in a different pot to everyone else. So all the small clubs like Chelsea and Newcastle and stuff are all in that small pot, and all the big ones like Sunderland and Bournemouth are in the other pot. So I'm feeling good.
So if anybody wants to follow my YouTube channel Beyond the Big 8, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about teams like Sunderland anymore. Yeah, it is strange, but it is what it is. It's the first we've been in the Carabao Cup for years, so I'm happy about it.
There you go. There's a win, innit?
We normally get knocked out in the second round against I think last season it was Huddersfield beat on penalties. So yeah.
There you go then. Huge progress for Sunderland this year already.
Already in the last 32. We're feeling good. We're feeling good. Anyway, let's jump into the confirmed transfers, and then we'll talk about the links and the rumours. Obviously, we won't cover off every single transfer link and rumour. And generally, if there's a confirmed transfer we're not talking about, it's probably because we've talked about it in a previous video, or Jimmy, who did the run sheet, has just missed it, which you can blame him. Put him in the comments and tell him that he's an idiot.
I'm happy to take that blame, yeah. It won't be the first, won't be the last.
We've got loads to talk about with Aston Villa today, but we'll start with confirmed. Aaron Wan-Bissaka on loan with a view to buy. You know what? The more I'm seeing of the players that Aston Villa are targeting, I'm sort of just thinking, this isn't what I would do.
Exactly how I am as well. Yeah. Exactly how I am. Obviously, we'll go through a lot of the linked players as well. But for me, it's like the signing players who aren't good enough for a big six side and are never going to be good enough for a big six side, but still, I just don't think they've ever really done anything. Like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, in my opinion, West Ham fans might disagree with me. I don't think he's done anything of note since he was at Crystal Palace. Obviously, I've talked a lot about Orlando Garnacho, but there's other players being linked. I'm like, I think that's because nobody else wants them. But them players still have ambitions of being a European footballer, is where I'm thinking at the moment. I don't like a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the ones that have been linked with as well. So Taylor Harwood-Bellis, not a bad one, obviously he's England centre back. He has played for England as well, and he's one of the best defenders in the Championship. He's not a bad age either, so I don't mind that one.
If not the best, out of the links that we'll talk about today, the Harwood-Bellis one I do like. I don't like him as a human being, but I do like him as a footballer.
Yeah, I think he's a decent player, and I think that he probably is a Premier League player, probably does he should be playing it in the Premier League. I was going to say deserves to play in the Premier League, but maybe for you, he doesn't deserve to play in the Premier League. But
as a footballer, he does, yes. Yeah. There's worse people in the world.
There is, mate. Joshua Zirkzee, though, I mean, if we look at the forwards they're being linked to, Nicholas Jackson, Mateta, Mateta 29, so it's kind of, they've had a problem with Ollie Watkins because Ollie Watkins was getting on a bit in age. They've moved Ollie Watkins on, so to bring Mateta in, presumably probably for the same money, I feel like it's just not a long-term answer. I mean, Mateta will do them well this season, might do them well next season, but it's not going to be for the next 3, 4, 5 years, is it?
No. And then I don't mind Mateta. But when you think of it packaged up and replacing Ollie Watkins, who's moved on, don't know, Aston Villa have tried to keep Ollie Watkins. They offered him a new deal, but yeah, he's certainly downgraded on Ollie Watkins in my humble opinion. I do like Mateta as a footballer. I think he's a lovely throwback centre forward, but yeah, again, it's just he's available. We need players who just go and get him. This reminds me very much of a Spurs transfer window.
Yeah, and then Zirkzee.
Awful footballer. Jesus wept. If he was linked with a loan move to Middlesbrough, I'd be causing absolute uproar.
Would you?
I'd be down at Rockcliffe just like trying to barricade the gate, trying to not let him in. I don't think he's a very good footballer, Connor. There's no when you look at football, I think that there's something about you. It could be movement, it could be this, could be that. I think he's your classic one who's just like he's built like an athlete. Therefore, there must be something about him that way. But I don't think there's any football intelligence in the lad. And it sounds harsh saying this as a fat middle-aged man sat in Teesside with a microphone in front of him. But I'm not a footballer. I don't proclaim to be a footballer. I just don't think Joshua Zirkzee shows any form of football maturity or intelligence on a pitch. Whereas, like, I'd say he's good, and you could rely on him for any way, shape, or form. He reminds me of, I'd say he's a modern-day Choupo-Moting, where he will move from football club to football club, but there's something there that people see and feel.
He's got technical quality. Like, he's the kind of player that, like, has lovely little flicks and touches and stuff, but I think he's got a bit of a heart.
Because he can't hold on to a football. He can't hold on to a football, that's why. Like, I don't think he can hold on to it quick enough. If he has any form of time to think about things, he can't do it, which is why he will flick it. And when the flick comes off, it looks fantastic. But more often than not, he won't do because he's flicking, because I don't want this ball for too long.
Yeah.
That's where the football maturity intelligence comes into play. He's not good enough for Aston Villa. He's certainly not good enough for Manchester United. If I was a promoted side and I went for him, I'd be like, oh no, come on, we can do better than that.
Nicholas Jackson, again, it's a strange one. Jackson, at least compared to Zirkzee, Jackson has at least got a bit of a record of scoring goals in the Premier League. And when he was at Chelsea, he was busy. You watched him, you were like, oh yeah, he struggles to score, but he is busy. He's getting chances. He's in and around it. So I don't, Nicholas Jackson's not as dodgy maybe as Zirkzee. But it still feels like it's following a similar mold, though, isn't it? That they're going for, more players like Jadon Sancho, which I'm like, is that the way you should be doing it? Should Villa not be trying to, in this SCR world, should they not be trying to buy under 23 players, develop them, make them better, sell them on, or have them as a big part of their team? Is that not the way to go?
Yeah. Because where's the resale value in any of these? Where is it? Because I don't see any of it. Like, you look at Manzabi, for example, early sign the transfer window. That screams of what Aston Villa should be doing. I like that sign a lot. Howard Bellis, a good sign and something they should be doing. But they go and sign Wan-Bissaka on, she's a loan to buy. Let's say Nicholas Jackson comes in permanently. I don't know where the resale value is going to come in for that one. One thing I'll say about Nicholas Jackson, he came under a lot of criticism his first season at Chelsea because he missed quite a bit of chances. If I remember right, and people can pull me up in the comments if I am wrong, I think he scored more non-penalty goals in that season than Cole Palmer, who was getting all the plaudits. So he's not prolific, but one thing you will say about Nicholas Jackson, if he's got a smile on his face, he will get in behind people a lot. He might miss some chances, but if you get him 3 chances, he might score 1, which might be enough for Aston Villa with and also the pace this lad has. So I don't hate that one as much as I would do Zirkzee or Wan-Bissaka or Garnacho.
Leon Goretzka as well. He looks like he's going to sign in on a free. That one feels like a good bit of business.
Sensible Champions League footballer. Yeah, he might have a couple of years left. He's a free transfer. It just sounds sensible, Connor.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. Right, there we are. We've covered off everything. We've got Rafa Leao and Joel Adornez also being linked. But yeah, there's a lot of Villa stuff happening. I think we've covered off mainly what we need to cover off there. So we'll move on to Sunderland. Have signed Jules Ahoka for $8.5 million, and they finally confirmed Dian Matali since we last spoke. So Ahoka came from nowhere. It was he's played like 4 senior games in Belgium. He was also one of the players at the tournament at the Toulon tournament, or whatever it's called now. It's got a different name. Definitely just one for the future, though. Sunderland needed extra bodies in that midfield. They need a player that could potentially replace Granit Xhaka in the team, and I suspect that Ahoka's going to be in there this season. He'll probably play a little bit in Europe, a little bit in the Cups, might get the odd Premier League game, but I think that next season they'll be looking at him to share the load with Granit Xhaka. So I think that they saw an opportunity to bring in a player who's probably by next summer going to be worth triple the price, and they've went in and got it done early, but I don't think he's going to impact the team straight away.
Fair. It sounds a sensible signing based on that.
Yeah, and Sunderland's scouting team generally pretty
Yeah,
good. So
yeah.
yeah,
Very good, very good. Let's have it right. Very good.
yeah, but we don't know a ton about Hogan. I have tried my best as somebody who has a Sunderland channel. I have tried my best to find out information about him, but there is not a ton out there. And then of course Diane Matali, who we've talked about quite a bit. That one is finally done and over the line for Sunderland. But what I am very excited about, well, I say very excited about, one I think is a good sign, and I'm not excited about it. Ethan Pinnock, I think, going to Coventry, I think is a smart bit of business. Premier League experience. He's 33 years old. I still think he is capable of playing regular Premier League minutes. He's got tons of experience, tons of it. And I just think this is one of them, which is a smart bit of business for Coventry, getting an experienced player like him in.
Yeah, without a doubt. The only, if I was going to say, if you were going to be playing a high line and be on top of teams quite a lot, I'd probably be a little bit dubious about signing Ethan Pinnock. So let's say, for example, he dropped down to a championship, a good championship side, fighting for promotion, then I'd be, I don't know about that one, because he's not the quickest on the turn anymore. But with Coventry City, they're going to be defending, and they need experienced heads who know where to be on first and second balls, getting away with the ball. Ethan Pinnock is a wonderful signing. And as Ipswich Town have done, Hull City have done, you'll get some experience head among some younger lads as well. Ethan Pinnock ticks every single box, what you need to sign as a promoted team in the Premier League. Great bit of business. And a good pro. I like him a lot. Yeah, great move for Coventry City.
Yeah, I agree. I think it ticks a box for them, and it gives them just some added, just solid depth. A player that know you'll be able to rely on. Played tons of games in the Premier League, so yeah, I really like that one for Coventry. Newcastle have signed or about to sign Nico Gonzalez from Man City for 50 million quid. This is an interesting one. Nico Gonzalez was brought in to essentially be like the Rodri successor. It hasn't worked for him really at Man City. He hasn't played a ton. It's not to say he's a bad footballer, but they've looked at him and kind of thought, I don't think you are what we thought you are. But Newcastle have swooped in there, 50 million quid. It's a lot of money, but it is a position of need for them. I mean, at the weekend, I thought Lewis Miley was unbelievable. I mean, what a player he is. But, he's there with Sean Stewart. They also brought on Ramsey. They brought on Willock. And you're just looking at that midfield and you're like, they need more in there. And Nico Gonzalez should, in theory, tick that box nicely. It's I think it's a little bit of a statement signing from Newcastle to get a player like that in from Man City.
Yeah, it on paper it should be a good signing. I think the only telling thing about him is he was absolutely brought in as a Rodri successor, and the fact that Rodri's now gone and he's moved on as well probably shows the impact he's probably had at Manchester City. They don't deem him good enough, but whether Newcastle United think they can get him, he's still of a good age, potential ceiling there, but how much of that ceiling can he do? Like, he's got to improve a lot in, I'd say, a 1 or 2 year period for Newcastle United to get a good ROI on that £50 million. But they're going and put £50 million into a footballer when a lot of questions that we've been asking is like, what's the ambition of the football club, what they're trying to achieve here? But I think the transfer business so far, what they are trying to achieve is being a little bit more sustainable and get younger players with ceilings and that can maybe sell on a little bit. Again, I don't think that was a plan when they first took over, but it could be a good sign for Newcastle. I don't know whether it will be, but it could be.
Yeah, I think like the only red flag I'd throw at it is that he's been at Barcelona and Man City, and both have moved him on. So like, I just wonder if he's a good player, but if they think that his ceiling is just kind of there. His ceiling is good player, not elite player. And obviously, I think you'd argue that Bruno Guimaraes was elite. I would not argue that Sandro Tonali was elite, but that's a question for a different day. But yeah,
I agree.
I think in theory, a very, very good move for Newcastle. Bournemouth have signed a goalkeeper, Mikel de Gregorio, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, what's going on there? Because they've got Petrovic, who they bought last summer for like 25 million, who's a decent goalkeeper. So I'm maybe Bournemouth fans in the comments can shed some light. Is this a starter? Is this a cover? It feels like, do you loan a goalkeeper in to be the cover? I don't know.
I don't think people do loan goalkeepers in to be cover. We've seen that plenty of times before. But I don't think you'd loan a goalkeeper to be cover who played 30 games last season.
Yeah, why would he sign?
Why would he sign if he's not, like, they haven't got eyes on him pushing Petrovic to be number one? I don't know. But I wouldn't say when I look through Bournemouth's team, it was a position they needed to address. unless there has been a decent offer going for Petrovic. We don't know that yet. And they're looking to move him on, and this is a plaster over it for a period. When you look at him as a goalkeeper, though, he's got all the physical attributes to be a very, very good Premier League goalkeeper, and also he played over 30 games for Juventus last season. But why are Juve moving him on so quickly? And why are Bournemouth getting him in? If it's a cover signing, fair dues. But it looks like a very good cover signing. But then I don't think it looks good enough to be number one goalkeeper. For Petrovic, I don't know. It's when I saw it, I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I am dumbfounded for and considering I've said a lot, I've not actually said a lot. I'm actually speechless. I don't know.
Well, he's been a number one goalkeeper his whole career. Since 2017 he had a loan spell, but since that point, every season he's played at least 30 games, often 40 plus games. He played 37 games last season for Juventus, 47 games the year before for Juventus. So I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm just not in that world, and Bournemouth fans can make it make sense to me, but it's a weird one. Unless Bournemouth are looking for like a European goalkeeper to be in the Europa League, maybe that's it, and they'll split the shifts between Petrovic and him.
It's a bit of a waste if you get knocked out early doors, though, isn't it? And what's he going to be doing if he sat there twiddling his thumbs the rest of the season? Lads, this isn't what was sold to me. Unless again, is it a loan to buy? If he plays so many games, there's the obligation to buy him for a big chunk of money. Are they wanting to push Petrovic? I don't mind having two competing goalkeepers. I think it's healthy. But yeah, I don't. It just of all the positions that went and addressed, I didn't think that was one of them.
Yeah, it's interesting. Be very, very interesting to see who's the starting goalkeeper come November. But not bad having the competition, I suppose. This one, Ipswich Town have had an offer accepted for Ezequiel Palacios, and we've talked about this one already on the channel, but it looks like that one, after, it feels like probably a month, is finally going to happen. Yeah. Palacios coming in from Bayer Leverkusen will become the first World Cup winner to ever play for Ipswich Town. So that's a nice bit. I mean, it shows how rare the World Cup is, winning it, doesn't it? Because I was trying to think in my head, have Sunderland ever had a World Cup winner? And I don't think we have.
We've had a few. There's two behind me. Juninho, Christian Carambeu.
Yeah. Real Madrid legend.
Who else? Yeah, Real Madrid legend. Yeah, Nobby Stiles, probably our first one. We've had a few. I think there's a few. Mark will probably roll off. To be fair.
Yeah. You've got them coming out your ears.
Oh, yeah, it's boring, isn't it?
Boring.
Big club, isn't it? But no, that's a lovely stat, that one. First World Cup winner player for Ipswich Town. I mean, we spoke a lot about Palacios as a signing, and it's one where we was just so for it. And you look at the impact Enciso had on Saturday for Ipswich Town as well. Similar players, maybe Palacios I'd say has a little bit more bite about him, but if you look at what Ipswich are going for, they're going for some real strong physical players with some lovely flair players who can go and open teams up. Wow, I know you've spoke about a lot as well, Connor, but it's every signing that happens, the more likely Ipswich Town are staying in this league. And Palacios is another step in that direction. Wonderful footballer, was very, very highly rated. I think we're going through his FotMob transfer value data a couple of weeks ago, and it was peaking well over £50 million at one point. So he's a good player, and you don't win a World Cup if you're rubbish. I don't care what anyone says, you just don't. So great signing for Ipswich Town, well done.
Yeah, it's interesting that no other teams have come in for him, because I remember when Sunderland was signing Granit Xhaka, and I think that Palacios is probably not the same level, but it's close to it. It's like a similar level signing in my view. There were other teams in for Granit Xhaka, whereas Palacios, it just feels like Ipswich have had kind of a clear run in it. So I'm kind of curious as to why, we talk about Aston Villa, why aren't they on this one? Newcastle have obviously brought in Nito Gonzalez. Why aren't they on this transfer? Any team that needs a central midfielder, why aren't they on this? So I think it's a real coup for Ipswich, and I think that it raises the floor of the team, which I think is really, really important. Having a higher floor, in my view, when you first come up, is better than having a higher ceiling. You want to make sure that you've got a standard bare minimum. So yeah, I really, really like this deal for Ipswich. I've liked everything they've done this summer. And I think they've got a real chance of staying up in the Premier League. So yeah, it's a tick in the box. This next one, that we're going to talk about. I don't know how to feel about this one. Nottingham Forest, 50 million quid offer accepted for Liam Delap. He went to Chelsea for about 30 million last summer. Stunk the joint out. Absolutely awful. Probably not his fault as much Chelsea's fault. But he had a bad year. And yet his value is increased by like 60, 70%. I don't get it.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, when people question Chelsea's recruitment policy, this shows that they know what they're doing. Jesus wept, yeah. We spoke about Liam Delap. He's been linked with a lot of football clubs over the summer. Everton, Leeds United being another two. I'd happily say if one of them went into, we'll have a punt on £15 million for him. And I mean, that's a punt. It's like, do you know what? It might work out. Fair dues, but that's 15, not 50. I've not seen enough of him to say he shows any kind of value in that one. When Chelsea went and signed him, I was like, I don't get it. I probably don't get it. When Ipswich Town signed him, I didn't get it because I didn't think he did very well on loan in the Championship either. But that season he had at Ipswich Town, he was relatively all right.
No,
he was all right, but I
think he scored like 10 plus.
Yeah, he got double figures, but I thought probably would have been the best thing for him at that time is go down the division, stick with Ipswich Town, and have another season of regular football with them. I think the move with Chelsea didn't work out for him in regards to his footballing progression, but it certainly helped his transfer value. And his agent must be absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
I mean, what would he should do all right off this, isn't he?
Well, he's done 100 million in transfers because, well, nearly. Ipswich paid 15. They sold him for 30. And now he's going for 50. So the 95 million quid this guy's went for in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, what an agent! Like,
yeah,
if he I don't know if he looks after radio host, please do get in touch. I'd love to have a conversation. But wow, unbelievable! I don't see it, Connor. I'd love to be sat here come May, and Liam Delap has had a wonderful season. He's got 15 plus goals. He's pushing for an England place. I'd love to be sat here. I don't see it personally, but let's see.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think that Delap last summer made a wrong decision. He probably should have went. I think Newcastle were interested in him. I think he would have done all right there because he would have been the man there and they would have given him a chance. Whereas at Chelsea, it always feels like when these players go into Chelsea, I think like Nicholas Jackson's probably been a victim of this as well, that the players are aware that when the time gets to 50 minutes in the game and they've not scored, they know they're coming off. They know that there's going to be a change in there. And I just think that they know that, if you don't score in a couple of games, you're out. We'll bring somebody else in.
Yeah.
And I don't think that helps. So, yeah, maybe he'll thrive at Forest. He's obviously got Chris Wood in there. He's got Igor Jesus in there. So, he should be able to have a gentle introduction. But I just think that's a lot of money. It's a club record deal for Nottingham Forest. And is he a club record signing level? I don't know if he is. But we'll see. He's young. He still has a chance to develop. But, yeah, not for me. I think it's a little bit stinky.
We'll see.
We'll see. Strong links. We'll talk about some of the transfer rumours that are going on at the minute. First one, Leeds. Trying to sign Mikel Mudryk on loan. This one's died down a little bit over the last few days. But, yeah, this is an interesting one because he's not played for so long. I think he's been out of the game for, 2 years? Something like that. 18 months, Mudryk. And even when he was playing at Chelsea, he did not set the world alight. I think Leeds are probably looking at it thinking, can we sort of get this player in and rekindle sort of his love of the game? He does have attributes like his pace. I do wonder if they're looking at him and they're looking at Dan James and they're thinking, is it an upgrade on Dan James? Maybe it is. But, yeah, I would be worried if this was a permanent deal. I think a loan deal probably is safe for Leeds. I'd be curious to see if it actually happens. So I doubt Chelsea want to keep him. So I suspect he probably will leave by the end of the window.
I'm surprised it's Leeds that are in for him. I know he's heavily linked with Coventry City, but for Leeds, I'll be looking at this one as like, no, I think the term you use, rekindle his love, is a good way of putting it. He's bound to fell out with love of football with everything that's happened with the lads. Obviously, his own doing quite a lot of it, let's be honest. But if Leeds can bring him in, there's no doubting he is a good footballer. There's a reason there was a lot of clubs going for him at the time when he moved to Chelsea. And if they can, he can be an impact player, 20 minutes here and there, and then try and get better and better and better. And if it's a loan to a permanent based on certain things being made, fair dues. But if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Yeah, I'm surprised Leeds are going in for him after the good work that Leeds have been doing, but let's see.
Low risk, low move, I suppose it could be.
It
Chelsea,
could be, yeah.
if you're just paying his wages. But yeah, interesting one.
But he's on a lot of money, Connor. He's on a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, didn't he sign like a 7 or 8 year deal or something when he went in there?
Yeah, because I think that's why he went to Chelsea instead of Arsenal. Arsenal well in for him, and they're close to getting him. Then he got a 7 year deal, I think, at Chelsea with, I think, about 50, 60 grand a week more, something
Yeah.
like that. So, yeah, he's on a lot of money for a long period of time. If I'm Leeds United, I'm offering him half the money. Go on, let's see what we can do with him.
No. Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting to see whether or not that happens. Jenny Katamo is still wanted by Sunderland. Have we? I think we've talked about it on this channel. I've certainly talked about Jenny Katamo ad nauseum at this point. But yesterday there was a report from Scott Wilson, who's a local reporter up here, saying that Sunderland are confident that this one will eventually happen. It looks like it's going to be about 40 million euros. It's obviously very expensive. It'll be Sunderland's record transfer, but they are desperate to sign a right winger. Sunderland have been without a right winger really since they got promoted to the Premier League. They had Bertrand Traore, but he only played the first few months of last season. So they really need to get a right winger in, because at the minute they're playing Trey Hume out there, who was a right back. It does not work really as a long-term solution. So Sunderland need to get one in by the end of the window. If it's going to be Jenny Katamo, he's had a very hot start to the Portuguese season at Sporting. So from Sunderland's perspective, we'll be hoping this one gets done. I've got some reservations about this one for Sunderland. I think I worry about how the Portuguese league translates to the Premier League, and when I've watched Katamo, I'd worry about the physical side for him, and how he'll necessarily adjust. I just think it's a hard league. I know some players have done it. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is a prime example. He's done it, but yeah, I've got a little bit of reservations about this. I would have preferred Matthias Sule, who they've been linked with from Roma. That one seems to have died down, but yeah. They need a right winger though. If they've identified him, I can't really go against Sunderland's scouting team. It's a bit like Brighton, where if they sign a player, you probably think, yep, they're probably right. So, yeah, I'll back them to do well, but yeah, I've got reservations.
As a winger, is he one that kind of hugs the touchline more? Does he like to cut inside?
He's the typical left-footed right winger. He's cutting inside.
Is he? Right.
Yeah.
Then I'm probably a little bit more concerned, because one thing I will say, if for wingers now, I don't think there's a fullback to really be overly scared about on the physicality side of it in the Premier League these days. But in the centre of the park, there's a hell of a lot. Defenders are getting bigger and stronger. Midfields are getting bigger and stronger. So if you ask, like, you worry about the physical side of it, and you're left-footed right winger who likes to cut in, if you're coming against, like, Sangara, for example, he's just going to absolutely blow you away. But if you're trying to play against a fullback more, then yeah, it might work out. So yeah, I'm probably right to be concerned based on that, Connor. There is I think a huge gulf in regard to quality of the Portuguese league and the Premier League. I think we all know that the top Portuguese teams are good. Your Sporting, Benfica's, Porto, etc. But as soon as you drop out with, let's say, the top 5 or 6 in the Portuguese league, the quality is absolutely appalling. I remember watching. It was an Arsenal podcast partway through last season, and they were on about Gyökeres being prolific in Portugal and how he's not going to be good enough in the Premier League. And there was talk about his stats in Portugal. And said, well, he's an example. I'm going to read you out some team names here, and you tell me if they are a Portuguese team or they're fake. And some, like, the people couldn't, like, name some teams in the Portuguese top flight, and they didn't even know if they were real teams, some of them. Mm-hmm. So I think it just shows a gulf in class in that division compared to some others. So that would be a concern. And I think you're right to be concerned about that one. I think if I am Sunderland, I'm probably looking for something a little bit higher quality. With a more competitive league, and maybe someone, if they are a winger that cuts inside, with a bit more physicality about them.
Yeah, Sunderland though have been really cautious about overspending, and it seems to have been at the detriment of their business. But I suppose when you're seeing players like Liam Delap go for 50 million, the market is just so inflated now with what you have to pay to bring a player in. So, I get it from their view that they don't want, especially with the 70% SCR rule, you don't want to spend money that you don't. That you could go elsewhere. So they've been really cautious with it. I think it's been to be honest, at this stage, it's been a bit of a nightmare window for Sunderland. We've got a week left of the transfer window, and they still have glaring holes in the squad. I didn't think they would put themselves in this position after last summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little bit concerning. But anyway, we'll move on. Jeremy Hernandez Deportivo La Coruña player who is being linked with Hull. Plays as a striker, can also play on the wing as well. He's wanted by Hull, he's wanted by Brighton. And look, his data last season, bearing in mind he was playing in the second division of La Liga. 22 goal contributions, 11 goals, 10 assists, 7.5 match rating on FootMob. And all of his data on the per 90 is pretty much green. So look, really, really good season last season, but playing in La Liga too. Hull probably do need a spark in the top end of the field. I don't think Ollie McBurney is necessarily the answer every week, although he was very good at the weekend. So yeah, it makes sense. Brighton also interested as well. And I think if Brighton are interested in a player, if you're Hull, you probably feel quite happy about that.
yeah, it's a pat on the back for the scouts, isn't it? Considering it was Hull that were linked with him beforehand as well, so it's like, no, well done on identifying this player. But if Brighton are serious about signing, Brighton will probably get him. It's a harsh reality. I'd say he's looking at what information is available. So he's definitely more of a 10 than a 9 as that forward, but you can play wide if you need him to. But as you rightly said, Connor, it's that creative spark that is probably missing from Hull City. For home games in particular, you're looking trying to get something out of nothing, and you've got opportunities. He could be that kind of player. He's also been well scouted too, and not that whole scouting department need too much praise, because I think they are really, really good, and I think they know that. But the fact that Brighton for him as well is like, well done. And if they're saying he's a good player, then I'm saying he's a good player. It's as simple as that, really. But yeah, his data looks really, really positive, Connor.
Yeah. I tell you, his data doesn't look that positive though. Mohamed Ali Cho, who was also linked with Sunderland, and I remember when he was linked with Sunderland, I got excited because it was a 22-year-old right winger, and that is something Sunderland need. And then I looked at his data and I was unimpressed. And his data is not particularly good. His shooting data is not particularly good. His assist and passing data not particularly good. Big chances created isn't too bad, but his possession stats, successful dribbling, not great. Defensive stats, not great. So I was kind of looking at this and I was like, I know data doesn't tell you everything. And I can't say that I've watched Mohamed Ali Cho play necessarily a lot of games of football. But yeah, it doesn't look particularly exciting when I look at his FootMob data, but I could be wrong on that one. But I suppose that's all I've got to go off.
I was speaking to a journalist about this player last week because he's been offered to a lot of clubs. And at the conversation came up because he was offered to Middlesbrough to talk about last week. And Middlesbrough, when the financials were kind of quoted, obviously stepped away very, very quickly. So I don't even think it went as far as Kieran Scott, if I'm being brutally honest. But his agent is touting him all over the place, which I think is why he's popping up with links to clubs quite a lot. I think he's going to be one of those players that if he does move, we'll get a move to a lower-end Premier League side very, very late in the window by a club who just hasn't managed to get their business done. And they haven't got the players in that they want or need. Yeah, Sunderland being an example of one. And I would be worried if I signed him because from when I dived into him, he looked like a footballer who does like to get the ball, but then nothing much really happens after it. He try and take people on. He'll lose the ball. He'll try stuff in the final third. That might not come off. Maybe he's playing with a better centre forward. That might come off for him. Don't know. But that's all ifs and buts. But I can only report on what I've seen and heard and read. It doesn't look good. But that is going to be a panic signing late in the window for sure.
Yeah, another one, Ayas Ansa, who plays for Union Berlin in Germany, has been linked with Hull. Apparently they've had a 20 million bid in, or 20 million euros, bid in. Again, the data is not supporting this one. He plays generally as he's a beast, 194 centimetres, so you're talking about above 6 foot, massive guy. Plays either as a striker or a number 10. He can also play off the left, but I would imagine he'd be playing as a striker because of his height. And again, his data per 90 last season, not amazing. 5 goals, 1 assist. His FootMob rating 6.42, which is not great. And there's a lot of red on FootMob. His expected goals is low. Expected goals on target is low. Lots of headers, which is, I suppose, a positive, but his passing data is atrocious. His possession data is really bad, other than the fact he gets a lot of fouls. Even his aerial duel percentage is 24%, bearing in mind he's a huge, tall lad, so that's not great. And yeah, his defensive numbers, as you would probably expect, I mean, you can't really judge him on his defensive numbers, but yeah, a little bit concerning, a lot of the data there. Now, he's only 21 years old. Hull maybe look at him as a bit of a project player, and also when you are a newly promoted team, you are never going to be able to sign generally the finished article unless you're Ipswich and you're signing Ezekiel Palacios, who's won the World Cup. But unless you're that, I think Eli's answer, to me, it doesn't look like somebody that's going to necessarily move the needle. And if I had a decision between Yeremy Hernandez or him, I'm going for Yeremy Hernandez every single day.
So it is the line here? Answer is not the answer.
Yeah,
is that the line here, Connor? Yeah. Because you notice I did put something similar in the notes, so you chose not to read that out, by the way. That was me pretending I was some former journalist at that point.
That's your joke.
I know, but it was me pretending I'm a journalist. You can if you want to, mate. I'm not precious on that, but it's safe to say he isn't the answer. If his aerial duels were a little bit higher in that one, I think, do you know what? If you need a centre forward, you're just going to get you, because what we saw on Saturday, Hull City targeting set pieces. Yeah. And that's obvious for any promoted team when you sign physicality. He looks like a physical player, but the size of the lad, you think he'd be better in the aerial duels. He can win you more free kicks further up the pitch based on that, get you up the pitch. I think Ollie McBurney does that quite well anyway. So is he going to be an upgrade on him? It doesn't look like it would be.
McBurney's got nice feet as well, hasn't he? Like, he's got that ability to sort of jink his way out of positions. He's almost like a target man who could also play. He obviously can't play as a winger, but he's got a winger's feet. Is probably how
he has. Yeah. He's very, very dinky with the way he does that. Yeah, that's a good analogy. That one. Yeah, he has.
Anyway, Crystal Palace, who are not having a good time of it. Let's be honest. But they've got a few different links going on. I suppose the place to start is probably Saw potentially forcing his way out. I saw that Mateta has tried to get his contract broken by FIFA. All sorts of nonsense happening at Crystal Palace, which is concerning. But Saw, if they were to lose Saw and Mateta, that would be two big hammer blows to what that team is. I'd be very, very worried about Crystal Palace if that was the case.
Yeah, I think we touched on this on Monday as well. It's like every day that passes, the more concerned I'm getting about Crystal Palace and the dropping further down where my predicted table would be. I am concerned about them genuinely. So, can I ask you a question on this one, Connor? Because you might know more than me. Where is this sudden urge now over the last 12 months where everyone want to play in the Turkish league? Because that didn't really happen for a while. But likes of Ollie Watkins and Sarr want to force moves to the Turkish league. Where's that come from?
I don't know. The only thing I can guess is there new money out there now? Maybe.
Always some kind of money, but that's where the Saudi league took over.
Yeah, I'm not. Bless you. I'm not sure. I don't get it either. And what I will say is that the Turkish media does sort of, it often promotes players wanting to go there. So, like, I remember last season there was a couple of Sunderland players that were being linked to Turkey by Turkish media, and it was all desperate to play in the Turkish league because I think that they want to build the league up and make it so that, you know, we can compete with the Premier League. So, could it be that in there? I don't know. I don't understand why Saul would be going to Galatasaray when I think that he could definitely get a move to one of the top teams in Europe. No disrespect to Galatasaray, they are a top team. But you would think that he'd be able to move to a top 5 league, would be my sort of thoughts.
I agree.
So
I agree implicitly, yeah.
Strange one. Yeah. I don't know. I think it would be a big blow for Crystal Palace to lose Saw, and a big blow to sort of their project. And I feel like, the football gods.
Mm-hmm.
The football gods, I think, sometimes giveth. They've given Palace this amazing run. They've won 3 trophies. They've won a European trophy. It's been amazing. They've giveth them. And now it feels like the football gods are taking away.
Is it one of those things where, clubs the size of Crystal Palace, that they will give them every now and then a couple of years of really good fun, and then, by the way, your time's up, boys. Off you pop. You look at Leicester City, for example. From winning the Premier League, won the FA Cup 5 years after that, and then after that FA Cup win, it's been quite a sharp decline. I look at my club, Middlesbrough. We won the Cup in 2004, had a UEFA Cup final in 2006, and then 3 years later we're relegated out of the Premier League, and we've been absolutely turgid ever since. Is that maybe what's happening at Crystal Palace? If so, it's a shame. Yeah, maybe. I hope for their fans' sake it's not, but also, in 10 years' time, Crystal Palace will be looking back at them days and think, oh my God, they were great, weren't they? Kind of what people do in Teesside now, and probably what people in Leicester do.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the big question is this football god, you know, he must be. Do you have to do a sacrifice? Maybe is something have to go on? Like, do Crystal Palace have to do something to break this curse? If there is a curse indeed happening, I mean, we're at the early stage. If there is a curse coming, we're at the early stages of it. But yeah, the football gods, it does feel like, I've got eyes for that club. They've given them, and now they're taking away.
I think so.
In terms of potential business, Axel Disasi, I like that. I thought it was brilliant when he played West Ham last season. Good centre back. Magassa, who's at West Ham, that would be an interesting one. And they've also been linked with Kevin Denoy from Auxerre, central midfielder. Whose data isn't too bad. So yeah, some interesting stuff happening at Crystal Palace. I don't know what sort of budgets they've got right now, because I'm just not sure with the SER and stuff in there. But yeah, there's a lot of things happening. A summer of turmoil. It's fair to say.
I think so. It's one of those. I think Crystal Palace will go. Maybe give us another cup run. That'd be fantastic. But please just don't go down. Please just don't go down, and recoup, and then see what we can do after. And then they can move the likes, your troublemakers like your Sars and Matetas on, and see how they can survive without them, and try and find the next good talents like them.
Yeah. Right. Last couple of things to touch on. Coventry interested Ruben Loftus-Cheek. This one's been going on for a while. I don't know. I mean, I like Ruben Loftus-Cheek as a player. I think that he would be pretty good. But yeah, this one's been rumbling on for all summer. I presume Loftus-Cheek knows Lampard from Chelsea. I presume.
Yeah. Lampard likes him a lot. When I saw the first link on Twitter a number of weeks ago, I thought it was very much just a lazy journalistic link. Lampard knows him. He knows Lampard. He potentially wants to come back to the Premier League. Coventry City seems a suitable thing, but the links got quite strong now. So I think there was genuine interest between both parties, and it would be a very, 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 very sensible signing for Coventry City. And we talked about raising the floor earlier. This absolutely does that, and this might force Coventry then move on. Who are good Championship midfielders, move them on.
Yeah,
I think you know what, like we're better now. Off your pops and go get a loan move, or we can get you for a permanent move for a couple of £1 million.
Yeah, I think that it would make sense. I mean, I can't believe he's 30 years old. I feel like Ruben Loftus-Cheek's been around forever. But on the flip side, I also feel like he's always been young. So it's like weird.
Yeah.
Like he's been a footballer for what feels like forever, but also in my head he's still 22. But yeah, I like that for Coventry. I think Loftus-Cheek would be a good bit of business. And the last thing we'll talk about, Brentford wanting to buy El Hadji Malik Diouf from West Ham.
Yeah.
This one's been rumbling on for a little while as well. I quite like Diouf. I think he's a decent player. He's very, very attacking. And I think with how athletic that Brentford team is, I think he would fit in really well. They're very good in transition. So I get it. 37 million, it's a lot of money to spend, especially on a left back. But again, I can't go against the Brentford recruitment. And I think that Diouf will fit in there quite well. So I quite like it as a sign, even if it's a little bit pricey. But he's quite young.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's one of those ones where I think we do use the word ceiling quite a lot, Connor. I think he's got one. I really do. He was certainly a bright light last season for West Ham United. They're not the only club who's been linked with him, but I think this is the one that's gone really, really serious in regards to the window activity for him. But yeah, it could and should be a really, really good sign for Brentford. I like the lad a lot. I think he's a really good player. Physical, quick. He's quick on the turn as well, which for a team that wants to get forward is very, very important. So I like the signing, Connor. I think it's a good shout.
Okay, well that just about sums up everything we are talking about today. Well, it does sum up everything we're going to talk about today. Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back with another video definitely tomorrow, because we're going to do our previews and predictions. Jimmy, I don't know if you're doing a video.
I am. I'm going to do my 3 highlights from weekend 1 and my 3 hot takes for week 2.
Takes. Happy days. Okay, that's good. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you. We'll have more videos coming out, so we'll see you soon.